The Perfect Fit Saddle Fitting Kit. This is the bag for your Perfect Fit Saddle Fitting Kit, and it contains all that you need to be sure that your horse or your pony has a comfortable saddle. It contains all that you need to be sure that the saddle is a perfect fit. This is the flexible curve. You'll find it inside the Perfect Fit Saddle Fitting Kit bag. You'll use this to take a mould of the shape of your horse's back in 3 places. These are the instructions that you'll find inside the saddle fitting kit. On the left are the Part 1 instructions, and these are a step-by-step guide to measuring and fitting your saddle on your horse. They're encapsulated in plastic, so they're very suitable for taking outside, either into the stable or outside, and won't suffer any damage. The instructions on the right are the Part 2 instructions, and this is a booklet which gives you a lot more information on how to fit your saddle and other considerations you need to make. It really is essential that you read and understand both of these before you begin to fit the saddle. This is the chalk that you'll find inside the saddle fitting kit. You'll use this for marking your horse's back where you need to measure him. Now Sergio must stand on a level surface, and he should be standing square and looking forwards. You may need some help with this. Before we measure Sergio, we need to know exactly where the saddle should sit on him. That's neither too far forwards, which would interfere with his shoulder, neither too far back, which would lie on the vulnerable and sensitive loin area. So first of all, Lindsay's going to find where the back of the shoulder muscle is, and she's going to feel it with her hands. But if you have difficulty finding it with your hands, you can lift up the front leg, just as Lindsay's about to do now, and you'll see the muscle move. Excellent. And so now what you need to do is put a chalk mark there, so you know not to put the saddle any further forward, so it doesn't interfere with the movement of the shoulder. Excellent. And then the next thing that Lindsay will be doing is putting a chalk mark where the last rib is. Now you may be able to feel this and work your way back up, or if you can't, if there's too much flesh on your horse, then you'll notice there's a whirl of hair on the horse's, above the horse's stifle. If you make sure you put it 6 inches further forwards than this, then that will be fine. Excellent. So we now have these 2 marks on the horse's back, and we know the saddle must be placed between. Now this time we have placed some tape on Sergio's back so that you can see more clearly where the shoulder, back of the shoulder muscle is and where the last rib is. Remembering that if we place it, the saddle in front of the shoulder muscle, it will obstruct the horse's movement, and if it's behind the last rib, it will place pressure and possibly cause pain to the sensitive area of the loins. Now Lindsay's going to put a dressage saddle between these 2 markers. That's perfect. That's where you want the saddle to sit on your horse, so that it can't impede its movement or cause any pain. Brilliant. If your saddle goes beyond these chalk marks, either in front of or behind, then you need to think about, in fact you need to get a shorter saddle, otherwise you're risking hurting your horse, either at the front or the back. This saddle is level on Rolo. If you look at the area of the seat, the area that you actually sit on, notice that this is roughly in the middle of the saddle, and that there is no slope on it. It's absolutely horizontal. This is a general purpose saddle. As you see, it sits between the 2 chalk marks, or in this case between the 2 tape marks, and you'll notice that the knee rolls of the saddle are in front of the tape. And this is because the knee rolls are not rigid, they're quite flexible and don't apply any pressure to the sides of the horse. So the knee rolls that you'll find on a general purpose saddle and on a jumping saddle will always go in front of that forward line, and that's fine.
Every saddle is different. Every tree within a saddle is different. And the important part to measure is the rigid part of the tree. So if you get your saddle and just press it in, you'll be able to find where the point of the tree is. In this saddle, it is here, quite a short tree. In this saddle, when you press the flexible part, you will see that the tree point is a great deal longer. So you will have to use more of the flexible curve to measure the rigid part of the saddle. So this is a short tree, and this is quite long.
Right, there are other things that we need to be aware of when you're fitting a saddle, and one of them is that
Having a clean saddle.
that it should be soft enough to gently indent. See, Lindsay is just get nice and clear. Oh, that's beautiful. Say how comfy that's going to be on this horse. Lovely. We're now going to show you how to test the tree of the saddle for soundness. Now Lindsay's putting the saddle up against her leg, or you can put it up against your stomach, whichever feels better, and pulling it hard towards you. And as you pull it up, if you hear any clicking noises or any other noises, there's a fair chance the saddle isn't sound. You need to get it checked. This is another way in which you can test the tree of the saddle, by putting the cantle on your knee and then pulling the sides of the saddle apart. Again, if you feel any movement or hear any clicking noises, the chances are the tree of the saddle is not sound, so get it checked. The gullet should be wide enough to fit 3 fingers to allow for the spine all the way down the length of the gullet. Lindsay's placing, you just lift the saddle up and run your 3 fingers right down. That's it, excellent. Actually, you couldn't see that.
Oh, you can't see
no,
that.
because your hand was in the way.
All right.
So that's it. Excellent. That's perfect.